So I dust off the seat of my pants after planting the seed of my ranch. See that my hands are fully calloused and my talents were balanced. With you as a ballast, now I sink to the depths of despair. Caught up in your nets, I get snared, but compared to the hospital care, it's only fair or fitting. I'm left smitten by what's sadistic, cryptic, and the cryptids I share a grip with, and I'm equipped with the diagnosis I'm afflicted and hit with. Maybe I became addicted to the excuse that my life is scripted by what psychiatrists scripted. The little notepad got my moods lifted. Everything I hope is simply sifted through my hands like the sands of the Serengeti. I was never ready for what I was hit with, and you don't know the half of it. The hassle of my heart being blacker than the shadow of Baphomet. Baffled by thoughts, these meds are trying to battle.
Wow, that's smooth. Welcome, everyone. Cascadia Hockey Podcast. I don't bring the same amount of energy that Corey does with his...
You have to go...
Welcome!
I was just going to say...
Welcome!
Welcome!
You have to sound like you're taking a dump at that point. So. Not anything... I love his energy, but he's just not here today because snowpocalypse swallowed him up. So. Anyway, I am here. Real quick before we go around the table, that was a song called Codebreaker by an artist named Trademark. The album is Blood Meridian. You can find it on Strange Famous Records 2019.
Strange Famous represent.
Love those guys, man.
Yeah, man.
Such good stuff. But that was fun because we're going to talk about hockey codes here in a little bit. So I thought Codebreaker was proper for this morning. I'm Aaron Piper. I am, what does he call me? The misanthrope.
I don't even know what that means.
The master misanthrope.
Misanthrope is somebody that has a general hatred of all people.
That is so inaccurate.
I know. I don't hate people. I just don't.
Don't like
anyway,
them.
There's a lot of times I don't like people. So none of you people. You people.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you
But today
people?
you are the host.
I am the host with whatever.
The most.
Oh, boy. Mrs. McMurray. All right. That would be the voice of my lovely wife, Anya Piper.
Hey, boys.
And at the end of the table, regular 86 guy, which I think we're going to do those stickers, man.
No, I was
Yeah.
No, I think that's pretty fucking rad.
I was totally joking.
No, I think it's pretty fucking rad, to be honest with you. But one Mr. Derek Schoenrock with
Hey,
us.
everybody.
My
Well,
three
I want a
Flyers
sticker.
fans.
Wait, I want a sticker.
69 me, boys. Hashtag 69.
Hashtag 69.
I accept.
You know, when we first started this project, not the podcast, but Buried Puck, we said, we just want to be real family friendly and
We did!
just for the children. And then we're like, fuck that, man. That don't sell shit.
You ain't Wu-Tang.
No.
You ain't for the children.
No, that was ODB. So anyway, interesting week in hockey. It is cold and snowy here today, so that's why Corey wasn't able to join us. He's got a lot going on.
But it finally feels like hockey.
It does finally feel like hockey, and I think it's going to continue around here with the coldness,
Dope.
which I like. I like this time of year. I like the summer. I like it all. I don't really like spring. Spring's about the only one I don't like.
Very smooth. Very smooth. Very,
smooth,
good.
very cool.
Wintertime is very smooth. Very
Yeah, it feels good to wake up to a nice blanket
Springtime?
of fresh snow in
Not
the
so much.
desert.
Not so much
No.
springtime.
Dude, I can't open my eyes half of spring because of the allergies.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Ugh, it's gross.
I love
There you
snow.
go. Weather.
I love
Now we need
snow.
traffic. We just did the weather.
You can talk about traffic with the 97 million accidents you saw on the way home
I
last
had to
night.
make a short commute from my house in Kennewick off of around 10th and Clearwater-ish. I don't need any stalkers, so that's all you get. For both of you listening today.
Paparazzi.
Well, we have seven. We have 7 listeners.
7.
Oh, perfect. 7.
Yeah.
7. Very good. Very smooth. And I went down 10th to the Bob Olson Parkway roundabout, wreck number 1. I'm going up Steptoe now. I get to the top of Steptoe where the new Roasters is.
Yeah.
Wreck number 2.
Holy shit.
I'm coming down Steptoe now towards Gage and the stoplight, and a car comes sliding by me in the other lane out of control. Up on the curb, into the sidewalk and stuff. Wreck number 3.
Shit.
And then wreck number 4 was on 240 going to Richland.
Okay.
I guess I want to say westbound.
Okay.
And then I get to the end, and there was a wreck on the other side, eastbound.
Coming off
So,
the G-Way.
yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So that was 5 wrecks and about an 8-mile drive for me
What did
last
you say
night.
earlier? like there was 100 wrecks in like 4 hours.
Yeah,
it
there
was
was 100 in 4 hours.
State
last
Patrol like reported 100. There was over 60 in Kennewick or something.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous.
I don't understand it. I mean, I guess just because, but I guess you got to look at it like this. Yeah, we're in the Northwest, but we're in the desert. We don't get a whole lot of weather around
Yeah,
here.
but you just gotta slow down. That's all it is.
It's
Or if
four-wheel
you're
drive. It's not four-wheel
dumbass,
stuff.
don't drive.
That's the other thing too. Like seriously, and people, you're probably thinking, man, what did they have, like a foot of snow? No, we
Yeah, like 2 inches
in
maybe in
Richland-
Kennewick. Yeah.
In Richland, we might have had an inch, maybe 2. Kennewick had 2 to 3. I mean, it's nothing, man. It's nothing.
Yeah, it was crazy. But
That's
people can make mistakes. Great. I mean, I'm not gonna say I've never slid into a curb or something.
No,
I have.
no, it's happened.
But here's a pro tip from Grandpa Derek. We're going back to Grandpa Derek's corner now.
Wait, how old are you? You actually could probably be a grandpa.
No, there's no possible way.
There, you could.
I mean, her dad was a grandpa at 37.
Well, I know. I'm just saying.
no, that was my mom.
I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
My
I
dad
know
was-
what it takes to be a grandpa,
Are you
and
sure?
there's no possible way.
I knew a dude that fathered. I knew a guy that fathered a kid at 12.
That is
Oh.
incredible, dude.
The mother was 14.
Yeah, again, there's no.
That's way one off, dude. Anyway, sorry, Grandpa Derek. Pro
That's right.
tip.
Grandpa Derek's rocking chair corner here. It's a new segment, which we debuted yesterday in Garagerama.
That's right.
Here's a pro tip. This is the only thing that really drives me crazy. I'm leaving enough room between me and the car in front of me. That does not mean you get to wedge your ass in there.
Right.
Okay, that's not a spot for you. And that really pisses me off when people
Yep.
try to wedge in there, and it's like, no, I've already created my safe stopping distance.
That's why I want a big ass truck and nobody will be around me.
Just
because
drive them off the road.
Pretty much.
Or if
plow
they
right
are,
through
you
them.
just plow them off
Just
the road.
plow right through them.
Fucking moron.
So when I was in Canada way back in the day, up in Toronto, the interstates actually have these like arrows on them, and you have to leave 2 between you and the car in front of you. They actually give you the distance.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Of how far to stay apart.
Right.
But once again, even Canadians, man, they just zip right in. They
Yeah,
take
well,
your
and that
spot
all
there.
varies on the actual road conditions and your
Oh, yeah.
speed and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess if at 55 miles an hour, they're probably set for a certain,
Yeah, they're set for whatever the
not to
speed
get
limit
all
is on
scientific on
there. Or
us. but
55,
yeah.
what would that be in 100 kilometers per hour? I don't know.
But I tell you right now, some of our friends from the north would be laughing at us in this conversation.
Oh,
my
I
God.
know.
There's going to be a few. I think Griff in beautiful Ireland's going to be laughing at us right now. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? So
Speaking
anyway,
of Griff, did you
That
see his
dreamy
picture?
voice.
He posted a picture the other day on Twitter.
looked like spring.
This beautiful park-like atmosphere, like this beautiful little lake or pond, or I don't know what they call it, a glen or a bog, or help us out, Griff. But
I call
it was
it a little
gorgeous,
piece of
man.
heaven.
Man, if there was a park bench there,
Fuck.
I'd park my ass there and just.
And then he could just talk to us all day and tell us stories.
We're gonna need.
We get the point, babe. We get the motherfucking point.
What's your favorite book?
I don't know. Jane, it's Jane.
Jane Austen.
Yeah, but I like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Okay. Griff, can you please record Pride and Prejudice
And Zombies.
and Zombies and send that
shit,
in an
that's a really
MP3
good
file?
idea.
we
That's a
we need
really
you to
good
do an
idea.
audiobook for us.
I bet you he would. I bet you, Griff, I know you're listening. We're only 8 minutes in. We haven't gotten past the threshold yet. So
Why does he cut off after like
No.
20?
Griff's, oh man, I love that guy. He is one of those that follows us all the way to the end. So, which we will have him on again. I think I mentioned that last week, but there's a lot of things coming that we're going to try to do with this year.
Irons
man.
in the fire, if you will.
There's a lot of iron, and I'm trying to pull the ones out at the right time. So one of the things
Do you want to know who my favorite guest on this show is?
Parker.
Yes, I love him.
Well, Parker's the best. Parker, man, just talking to him this past week. A poor guy got hit in the face with a puck by his own teammate.
He looked kind of like an elephant.
I sent him the text with the gif of Tommy Boy going, not here, or not here, here so much, but right here.
Right here.
And it was like, Jesus, what happened to your face? He laughed and told me
He's
the
such
story.
a great. I guess he's a kid, but not really.
No,
I mean,
Parker, you're not a kid, man. You are doing things that most of us couldn't have even imagined at 20 and 21 years old. What you've done with Humboldt, with that, is just incredible, man. So we're hoping to have him on more often this next few months at least.
We should do Parker's Corner.
I like it. Parker, I know you've got some stories, man. So one of the things we do want to announce once this releases, which will be Wednesday at midnight.
Or technically, isn't it like 9 p.m.?
9 p.m. Pacific time, yeah. So,
because most of us are Pacific Coast people.
yes, the best coast, left coast, best coast,
Left coast, best coast.
and I can say because I've lived on both. Left coast is the best coast.
Okay, so why do you call it left coast? Because
we're
to
on
me,
the left
America,
side of the
we're on the
country.
left side.
Yeah.
I know, but what if you're looking the other way? Then you're on the right side.
So we're like underground looking up at America.
I don't know.
It's like the scene in Miracle where they drop the puck and you're looking under the ice at it.
Maybe.
Mrs. Piper McMurray,
Yeah.
the world is not flat.
I was actually thinking it was the right. Like we were on the right side.
Okay, we are on the right side of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
But we are on the left side of the continental United States.
So the
Noted.
And Alaska is up north.
Oh God, poor me.
So can I tell you a story?
This has been Uncle Aaron's Geography Corner.
So we're going to have another little fun one here real quick. Several years ago, we were talking about Alaska for some reason.
several years ago, let's say I was in my early 20s.
Several years ago, we had a conversation about Alaska. And she said something about how close Alaska and Hawaii are. And I said, baby, Alaska and Hawaii are pretty far apart. I said, maybe the southern end of the Aleutian Islands is a little bit closer than like, Barrow. And she said, well, but they're both out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And I stopped and I said, holy shit, she's thinking of the maps in the books. How
they
they
always
would have
put Hawaii like
and Alaska out there in the ocean. I said, baby, Alaska's connected to the north side of Canada.
Oh boy.
He showed me a big map and that was accurate.
I went to the big map.
You know what? I blame my mom.
I blame
She
Canada.
homeschooled me for like 3 years, so I missed out on a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, it's very true. There's some conversations that I won't repeat that we have that are just like, what the fuck were you learning for those 3 years?
I was pretty naive.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Anyway, so once this releases, live should be our drumroll Cascadia Hockey Facebook group. Boom. That felt very, very anticlimactic, but
It was. You should actually put some like
Yeah,
music
put some
into it.
fun, some
Sunday.
some horn sounds. And
I'll do something there. We'll have some fun with that. But yeah, we're launching a Facebook group, and I'm going to let Anya speak on this just a little bit. But I'm excited because, we like doing this. We love hearing
Yes.
ourselves talk. We really do. But we wanted to turn it into a conversation. And, there's been a lot of people recently interacting on our Facebook group or our Facebook page and then our Instagram page and stuff like that. But we really want to hone it into like a Cascadia hockey conversation instead of having everything live on Buried Puck right now. Because, yes, this is, I do own and run Buried Puck Threads, but Buried Puck Threads and Cascadia Hockey are kind of separate entities, and we're hoping that this Facebook page would be a good way to separate the two, to start the separation anyway. Babe, you want to speak on it? Because honestly, I hate to put you on the spot, but this was really you
It's
pitching.
fucking bullshit.
Oh, okay, so now the Facebook group is fucking bullshit.
No, I hate when you make me talk.
No, you love it.
I don't actually. I hate it very much.
But just talk a little bit about what we want to do with it.
you do know this is a podcast.
I know, but I get to say what I want when I say it. If I wanted to, I could sit here and not say a goddamn thing.
That was you last week. You had like 4 words last week.
I actually said more than 4 words.
It wasn't a whole lot. But anyway. Go ahead.
Anyways,
Facebook group.
well, first, let me say this, since you're putting me on the spot. I've been asking you to
God.
put this together for over a year.
No, not that long.
Oh, whatever. It's
Okay,
been over a
maybe,
year.
maybe.
Anyhow.
been
Anyways, I
1
definitely think...
I wish it's only been 1 week. I wouldn't be in so much trouble.
No, honestly, basically, to be fair,
To be fair.
it is a work in progress, and there's a lot of things that need to come together to make it happen. We got to be present. We got to be active, and honestly, I think we needed to, get to know each other in a little bit on the podcast and then our community of people that are interacting on our Facebook page, which is super awesome. We're having so much fun with you guys, and
Thank you, real quick, thank you guys so much for the kind words that you've been throwing out about what
Yeah.
we're doing. Because honestly, we do this a lot. And Derek, you and I, we talk on Garage-a-rama a lot of times where Garage has gone. We were just hoping like 5 people would listen to it, and with Cascadia, it was kind of the same way when we started.
I know,
but
we have 7 people. It's so awesome.
I know, we have up to 7 people listening now. It's great. But it's cool.
Super 7.
And it's not like I would keep doing this regardless. I really would. I love this is my creative outlet to talk hockey.
Same with me. I mean, we all have our careers and stressful home life and stuff like that, kids and running around, all this stuff, and it's like we get to sit down for an hour and talk to each other. And honestly, if that's all it was, that would be perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
But it's even cooler when people are listening and interact.
We actually had somebody. We had somebody Saturday night. We were at the game Saturday night, and somebody commented about the changes that are happening with the Americans, and I said, I made a comment like, well, why don't you check out our? I could leave a post, but it would be super long, so check out our most recent episode of Cascadia Hockey Podcast. And she, like 30, 40 minutes later, she responded, well, lucky for you, I brought my headphones to the game tonight, and I just listened to it, and you changed my mind.
That's awesome.
Really? I said, that's really, really cool. She actually just commented she can't wait to hear the next episode of the podcast.
Oh, that's great.
But we're about community. We want support local hockey is really, really our mantra. I mean, that's what we want to see happen and build that community. So that's what you see this group being able to do.
And honestly, I can't say it any better than the way I wrote this. It says Cascadia Hockey is about bringing together all of us to share in our excitement and frustration no matter what local team we're rooting for. Whether you're in Seattle, Portland, Tri-Cities, or Spokane, Cascadia Hockey is bringing the spirit of the greatest game on earth together.
I love that.
And Everett. Oh, see? He even proofread this. I am so sorry, Everett fans.
And Everett.
We're going to talk Everett in a minute because they're struggling right now, but that's my favorite.
Okay, well, let me go back and say whether you are in Everett, Seattle.
But honestly, like really seriously, looking, Wenatchee, all the places in between.
Yeah.
Winthrop. Did you know they have an outdoor rink in Winthrop? I'm looking at Derek right now just because he's been around here the longest.
Yeah, no, I didn't. And we went on when my son was playing hockey. We went to a lot of the regional, rinks and stuff when we had to travel for tournaments. And we never made it to Winthrop. I did not know there was an outdoor rink there.
I don't know how long that one's been there, but I mean, your kid's only 13. Just a few years ago he was playing.
Yeah,
so I'm pretty sure it's been there.
Yeah, it was fairly. I mean, yeah.
But, Winthrop, I mean, it's not super close. It's up north of Wenatchee and all that. But Moses Lake has...
Yep, the outdoor.
It's covered, right?
There's a cover,
but open air sort of thing.
Yep, that's exactly how it is.
So that's pretty cool.
It was a cool facility, man. We had a blast there. In fact, we went... One of his last tournaments was up there, and, one of the interesting things when we were in the... Not to talk about youth hockey, but, Takaha has a big presence here in Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job.
Yeah.
But whenever we traveled, it just showed that we had a really good program here because we would really beat a lot of the teams.
It's still continuing, too.
We would travel to Seattle, and we would beat the pants off of Seattle. We would travel to Spokane. Spokane was probably our biggest rival as far as equality in talent.
Yeah,
I won't even say talent. I mean, these are like 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kids, but,
right?
So it really speaks to the coaching and but the kids, they got to get on the ice and do it anyways. So
right.
But yeah, it was just always pretty fun. We'd go to Lewiston and. The Spokane tournaments and Seattle tournaments would always get these Canadian teams drop down, and then you saw a real disparity. But it was just cool to know that, hey, the Tri-Cities really does have a great youth program because the evidence was when we went out of town and we would play these guys. I saw a post just a couple of days ago from Takaha. There was a tournament where the first and second place teams, I think in the 8U or the 10U, were Takaha teams. Yeah, that happened several times when Jackson's team. We'd go up to Spokane and then meet one of our Tri-Cities teams in the finals.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So it was pretty fun. I mean, it's a good time.
It is cool. Yeah, there's definitely a culture of it around here. But every little place, I mean, just like that outdoor rink in Winthrop, there's obviously some sort of culture for hockey up in that little town. Moses Lake, it's 25,000 people, not very big. I would kill to have an outdoor rink here. Well, we do have the outdoor
fake rink
inline.
Is it like faux ice?
It's concrete.
No. It's built for street hockey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Atomics, the roller girls use it for practice sometimes.
But in the wintertime, I don't know why they couldn't gas that. I mean, like, how much? $100,000 to set up a little plant there and gas that thing in the wintertime?
I don't know. I don't know.
But then maintenance and operating costs. I mean, it's not cheap. Ice is not cheap, guys. I mean, to operate a facility.
The new plant was like $4.2 million.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I mean, obviously, it's a professional level, and it's made to run 3 sheets of ice.
Right.
But yeah, it's not cheap building, and that's one of the reasons that hockey is very inaccessible to a lot of areas. You know, just talking to Kyle over the weekend, his old high school inline coach is working on getting an ice rink in Elko, Nevada.
Oh wow!
Which Elko is a town of about 40,000.
Popular gambling spot for the 80-plus-year-olds.
Yeah, for real.
The tour buses stop into Elko, and
isn't it right across? It's not too far across the border from like Salt Lake City area, if I remember right, off of 84 or something like that. But they're working on their first ice rink, and it's huge, man. I mean, it's a huge feat. Here we've got 3 sheets of ice, and we might be getting a 4th.
I was going to say we're supposed to get another one, right?
Do we really have 3?
We have 3, but one of them, who knows how long it's going to last? The one over at the track Hapo Pavilion, whatever it's called now. They've been talking about taking that one out for years.
They've been telling us.
I didn't even know they had one over there.
Yeah, well, that's where we used to go watch the Titans.
Oh,
do you remember the Titans back in the day, the Tri-State Titans or whatever? We used to go watch them play over there,
and that's where 90% of
Takaha.
The Takaha. I mean, that's if that facility went away, it would severely damage our youth hockey.
No.
Yes,
because ice is, it's got to be accessible.
I guess the rumblings here though are that the what was it called when they were going to connect the convention center and
the link. They called it the link. Yeah.
Right. That is getting some private backing right now. Like they're selling some land there to private companies. There's a talk of a 3rd sheet of ice in that whole proposal. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Hopefully once Seattle drops, people will see
the value.
Yeah.
Well, I just I remember back when they first came, right? Because I'm a lifer here.
Yeah,
88, 89, they would have free skates at like 7 a.m. in the morning. Because
back then, main ice or rink B?
There was the rink B didn't exist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was.
So that was the only sheet of ice.
Yes,
wow.
That was the only sheet of ice in town, and we would take field trips there for school and stuff. But I remember like the free skates were always at just random, hours.
7:17 a.m.
Right. But that was all we had, And then now, I mean, it's perfect. Fridays and Saturday nights.
Yeah.
Like, I just found out because my son started going. He's starting to want to get back into hockey.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's getting the bug a little bit, so he's been wanting to skate, and so took him to a few free skates and just drop him off. And like, apparently, that's where all like the high school kids are hanging out.
Really?
On Friday and Saturday night, they're all going ice skating.
Interesting.
80% of the people there were middle school, high school age kids. They go, and I was like, "This is rad, man." I mean, if we would have had that when I was in high school, I'm sure we would have been hanging out there.
For sure, that's
we'd go
awesome.
to the bowling alley and stuff like that.
Yeah, or the roller rink. I mean, we used to do that a lot when I
Yep.
was a kid. So, wow.
So yeah, I just thought it was cool that all these kids are skating, and they're not playing hockey per se, but they're on the ice and they're support. I mean, that's dollars into the facilities to keep them up. So I mean,
it ain't cheap.
It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
So anytime they can do stuff, and we've been. I'm going to throw it out there to keep us accountable because we've been talking about getting more involved with volunteering with Takaha and stuff like that at the youth level. I just had a meeting this week with a local friend, business owner, that we're talking about trying to put together a tournament, or not a tournament, like a hockey school camp-ish.
Oh, cool.
For women, for girls, like 12U, 14U girls, because there's actually some of those teams around here are starting to do pretty well, but they're kind of nobody really notices, sort of thing, And so with what the Washington Wild is doing on the west side, our buddy Dan works with them, but we would love to see something like that happen here, because it's not that the young guys don't need somebody supporting them and all that stuff, but we feel like they're well represented. If we can see that girls' side of hockey grow as well, I think that would be cool. So we're working on that.
We would always have 1 or 2 girls on Jackson's teams, and they were awesome, man. Our there was a little girl named Becca. She was the same age as Jax, but like she was just a little half pint, but she was so feisty, and she was a goalie.
Oh, nice!
And she loved playing goalie, and she was so freaking good. And what's funny, you just mentioned the women's stuff, and I don't even know if she's still playing because we've been out of it for a few years. But in my Facebook memories the other day, we had won a tournament in Lewiston.
Nice.
And she was our goalie throughout the whole tournament.
Nice.
And
Neat.
my thing was like, congratulations to the boys and Becca. But I mean, there's no reason that, especially at that level, up until probably 10, 11, that, you know, if they want to, they shouldn't be involved. But I wish there was more access for them to be able to have their own league. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's hard. I still think we're a little too small to have.
Maybe.
You know.
That was kind of the conversation, though, that surprised me. Was this buddy of mine had said that, because he's done some roughing with Takaha, and he's seen in the kind of that late middle school, early high school age, there are all girls teams out there.
Right.
And so, I mean, the bottom line, the conversation is, why can't we have talent coming out of this area? Mm-hmm. You know, at all levels, but let's give everybody the opportunity for it. You know, like Lexi Bender, who plays for the Boston Pride,
which are still undefeated.
Still have yet to lose a game. Congrats to the Connecticut Whale, though, got their first win of the season.
Nice.
But Lexi Bender's from Snohomish, and she does a lot of work with the Washington Wild and stuff like that. So it's like, why can't we see some talent start coming out of this area? You know, I can't even really think of many players that have come out of here. Taylor Vickerman was a local kid that played here for the Americans, but that was it.
Casey Kaiser played
Casey
for the
Kaiser
Americans
was
for a
from
while.
West Richland. We have a kid this year that I believe is an affiliate player of the Americans from Richland or Benton City or something. We'll talk about that too. That was an interesting story. But from Richland, I believe. But he went over and played for the junior Silvertips in Everett because it was a bigger program that got him more, you know.
Sure.
So my point is, I really believe that the interest for the game is high here.
Right.
If we can get to that youth level, boys and girls, I really truly believe we can see some talent come out of here. Tyler Johnson, big stud for the Tampa Bay Lightning, grew up in Spokane, played for, you know, Junior Chiefs, went on to play for the Spokane Chiefs. Now he's, you know, stud for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Came out of that area. The Yamamoto boys are from Spokane,
right?
You know, who I just saw that Keanu, the older one, is playing in the same collegiate league that Parker's in.
Oh, neat.
In Ottawa area.
That's awesome.
But then, of course, Kyler Yamamoto, first-round draft pick from the Edmonton Oilers, who's been back and forth. He'll crack the roster one day. But so my point is, there's the ability to get some talent out of this area. And I think if you start to see those homegrown, hometown players, that's going to grow it even more.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was always interesting, you know, even the ones that were showing proficiency, they would take them out of here.
Yeah.
You know, their parents would take them to, you know, one of those hockey internment camps up in Canada or, you know, down in Colorado.
Yeah. A year.
Yeah, it's basically school. It's basically a private school. And they go to school, but the other 16
it's
hours
like
a day they're
Ducks,
playing hockey. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's like
they had
Harry
that big
Potter.
school and they were
Oh, you're talking about when the Mighty Ducks 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is it 3?
It was the third one,
Yeah, they went to school, private school, and scholarship and all that.
Minnesota's like that, though. I mean, high school hockey in Minnesota is huge.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's the other thing, too. If we had a high school program here,
Right.
maybe.
Right.
You know?
Which, again, that's ice. I think if there was more ice, then
Yeah.
it would be possible, but it's just...
But all of this, I think, is going to be super important to spur on discussions and hopefully to make it better in our Facebook group that we're wanting to start.
And everywhere in the Pacific
For sure,
Northwest.
absolutely. And I think just that's you kind of got around the issue of what you wanted me to say.
I know.
Cascadia.
You know how we go off the
Hockey.
rails super quick.
And anyhow, but anyways, we're going to launch it tomorrow.
No, it's already launched.
No, it is not. There are 2 things that have to happen in order for that to be official.
There's an ongoing joke on Garagerama. We record. I'm going to just share it. We record on Mondays and we release on Fridays. And we always try to play it like we're live on Friday night. So,
But it never happens.
And it's an ongoing joke. Everybody that listens knows we record on Mondays. So we're recording on a Tuesday. This will release on a Wednesday night. By the time this releases, the Facebook group will be live.
That is accurate. Anyhow, we will send you out links.
Yeah, no, tell people
everywhere.
how they can find it.
It's Cascadia Hockey, and you just search for it. It is unsearchable at this moment.
But it will be searchable by the time you're listening.
You like how I do that?
Jeez Louise, man.
Currently, no, it is going to be searchable by
You have to
going
answer
to Facebook.
You have to answer a couple questions.
Yeah, we just want a few questions. We just want to get to know you guys. You guys seem to probably know us pretty damn well, so we want to get to know you. Just 3 questions a little bit.
And to make sure you're not a fucking robot.
Or a weirdo, like, okay.
Like me. No.
Yeah,
Basically,
right.
we're trying to prove to potential advertisers that we have listeners so that we can advertise. You know.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
totally kidding.
You are guinea pigs for us.
Totally kidding.
You're
So
cannon
find us.
fodder.
It is Cascadia Hockey. Search us
On Facebook.
And honestly, I'm gonna put it everywhere. So it'll be on our Facebook, our Instagram. For Buried Puck, it'll also be on my personal Facebook
Yeah,
and Instagram.
it'll be
All
on
that.
mine.
It'll be
Yep.
everywhere. So we'd love to have you. And the biggest thing is, we don't want just the Tri-City fans. Sorry, peeps. I want everybody. I want to talk
that's
to
fine.
Everett players. I want to talk to Seattle fans. I want to talk to you guys. I want to know what you guys see. Are you guys seeing the same issues we are with the refs being annoying, or the penalties that we constantly are seeing, or just the camaraderie that you see on the ice between
tell us-
each players? I want to hear from you guys too, because we're not in Seattle or Everett. We're not in Everett, since I happen to forget
Tell
Everett.
us who's got the best wings at the rinks.
Yes.
man. I mean,
Who has the best poutine? Because as far as I know, Tri-Cities has a pretty good poutine.
I think the
Finally got a
Americans probably
poutineery.
have the lockdown on poutine, because we get people that travel from Everett, Seattle, all that, and they're like, damn,
That's
the poutine
awesome.
at this rinky-dink place is legit.
It's a perfect conduit for everyone to join, to get in on the conversation, especially with
Yes.
us. Obviously, we're not live. We just said that
Right.
we're not live, so you can't
Or are
interact
we?
with us. No, we're not live. But you can't interact with us during the show. But not that you can't comment on there, and we don't bring pieces of that to the show, and then
Right.
and that is how you can be a part of the show.
Exactly. And we want to start, talking more too about. Sorry, I just got distracted by a message. We want to start. I don't even remember where my fucking mind was going at that point. Really just drawing people together with every team in all these situations. You'll see things on like game days. Like, we're not just going to talk about when the Americans are playing. We want to talk about when Seattle's playing, when
Or
Portland's
Everett.
playing, or Everett, or Spokane. I mean, guys, I really want you to know, like, if you listened to last week's episode and that was the first episode you heard, you'd probably say, oh, this is a Tri-City Americans podcast. I mean, we spent 40 minutes on it. I will have to say, though, that I think over the last 2 weeks, the moves that the Americans have made them the top topic in the U.S. division.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, there were some really big trades that happened. But we are not a Tri-City Americans podcast. Yes, that is our local team. Yes, we do go to games. Yes, we do support them. I do have friends on that team. I have friends in the front office. But we are not a Tri-City Americans podcast. We are Pacific Northwest
For the
podcast.
people.
We're for the peeps, man.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest. Except we talk a lot of Flyers.
that is
yeah, we
accurate.
do. Fuck
And
yeah, we
actually,
do.
even Corey, he doesn't even talk about Detroit's very much.
Hey, Carter Hart is the goalie for the Philadelphia
Heck
Flyers.
yeah, for
and
Everett!
his junior career was in Everett. Wyatt Wiley, who is currently playing for the Everett Silvertips, is another draft pick
6
of the
degrees
Philadelphia
of separation to the WHL.
Honestly, goalies are my favorite.
I got that head nod from Carter Hart, and I'm never
I
going to
know.
forget it. He
Goalies
was out
are
in the
my
hallway.
favorite.
Little, what's up?
I
What's
think
up?
goalies are like the most important part of the game.
Absolutely. That's your most important penalty killer for
It's
sure.
your last line of defense.
Defense, absolutely. And they impress me, or they make me think that they suck.
So,
really bad.
final word on that. Cascadia Hockey
Yes.
Facebook group. Join, talk. Real quick, the only real rules we're going to have is no personal attacks. We will not stand for personal attacks
Yeah.
at all.
Oh,
So,
we will kick your fucking ass out.
And I saw another group
Keep
the
it
other day that
civil.
was like, strike 1, you're banned for 24 hours. Strike 2, you're banned for 48 hours.
Zero
Strike 3, you're out.
tolerance policy.
There is zero tolerance, guys. I'm serious. Bash the team all
There's
you
chirping.
want.
You can chirp each other.
away.
That'd be fun.
But
But do it respectfully.
If it gets
Yes.
racial, if it gets political, if it gets
Religious,
stupid,
anything. You go after kids of family, just
oh,
you're going to be
yeah.
ixnayed.
We're done.
chirp
on the
away.
ombre.
You know we love a good chirp. That's fine. But remember, you can chirp the crest. That don't be chirping, You get it. But that's really the only rule we have.
So join us and put us in our place.
Join us
because
or die.
I think Aaron and Derek have some inaccurate things in their
Inaccuracies?
brain, such as not liking Gritty.
What?
Hey, hold on. No. I'm cutting that one off right there. We've already talked enough
Oh, are
about
you
that
going to
one last
edit
week.
it? Oh, no, it's not going anywhere.
No, we're not going to edit it.
Oh,
but
but
last
no.
week we put it in there, so it's going to stay.
Listen.
Everybody knows where Derek stands on Gritty. Everybody knows where the other people that are correct stand on Gritty. So
It's going to be brought up every couple episodes, just so you know.
I will say, Gritty's reaction last night when Marshawn whiffed.
Are you talking the over-the-shoulder camera shot they had of Marchand? Oh, my God.
And Gritty is in the background. It literally looked like he was shitting his pants with joy. It was
Awesome.
hilarious.
If you do not know what we are talking about, last night or Monday night, whatever this was, the Flyers were playing Boston in Philly. At one point, the Flyers were down 5-2. They made a hell of a comeback. Yeah, they were getting speed bagged bad. They pulled it off. They tied it up, took it to overtime, took it to a shootout. Konechny had just scored a sweet goal on Halak for the Flyers. Marchand, 5th round, I believe, of the shootout, had to score to keep it going. Motherfucker skates to the puck at center and completely whiffs on it. I mean, like, okay, no, I can't say completely, because if he would have completely whiffed, he could have turned around and touched it.
Yeah.
He looking directly at the puck, goes to touch it, just the heel of his stick catches the puck. It starts moving about 2 inches, and that's it. Then it stops. It has to keep, the rules are that puck has to keep moving forward the whole time, headed towards the goal line. It stops 2 inches after he whiffs on it. Refs are like, no goal,
what are we
game
supposed
over.
to do here?
Brad Marchand, man, and there was a shot of Gritty over the shoulder,
Noonan.
just loving it. So
Noonan. he Munsoned it.
yes, he totally did. So, but sometimes. So that was fun. Flyers have been up and down. They beat Boston. They beat the Caps the other day, which is pretty good. But then they're losing. They went on that West Coast road trip. Lost to L.A., the worst team in the league.
Still schizophrenic.
Yeah, I don't know where they're at yet.
3 weeks ago, I thought they had kind of put the pieces together and we're going to go on a run, and then it's just been like,
go west, young man.
happy
and
to
die.
be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. They're out of playoff position right now, but the Eastern Conference is getting really, really compact.
It's
right
muddy.
now. Yeah,
It's muddy.
kind of like the Pacific Division.
It's gritty over there in the Eastern Conference.
It's extremely gritty. It's extremely gritty.
For all of those who don't actually see us, the minute he said gritty, I looked up and I smiled.
Because what were you doing on your phone?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And
She's doing social work.
I got a serious side eye just
Plus,
then.
honestly, when you talk NHL, I kind of take a step back.
we
I'm
don't,
not as involved with it. I don't really follow it. I follow
That's
the local.
bullshit. You follow the NHL. You know
Not
what's
really.
going on. Yeah, you do because
Not
you
particularly.
listen to me.
Okay, I'm
so
not
you
too
don't listen to me.
excited. I'm not too excited about the NHL. I get excited about our league,
I'm
Western
with you.
Hockey League. That's like my jam. I want to know all the things about it. So that's why I'm so excited about this group, just because like we're gonna find out from other people about what's happening, especially that whole that big fight between the two goalies.
Oh, so
Couple nights ago.
couple nights ago.
I know. So like I want the inside. Like what happened? Like I want video. I want pictures. I want to see it all.
Video's out there.
I know,
All you
but I'm
gotta
just
do is
saying.
go to Kelowna probably not Kelowna because they got speed bagged like crazy in that game.
I know, but I want
Kamloops though, and here's what you got to understand: the last few years, Kelowna has owned pretty much everybody in the BC division. The first year we were involved with the AMs, they were incredible. Leon Draisaitl was playing for him that year. Rourke Chartier, if anybody remembers that guy, he was really good. They won everything except for the Memorial Cup, and they were 1 goal away from the Memorial Cup. So anyway, fast forward 5-6 years down the road, Kelowna didn't even make the playoffs last year. Kamloops beat them in a playoff to get in. So now there's this rivalry animosity. I looked at the numbers. Kamloops has beat Kelowna 7 out of 8 times this year. The other night, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but there was something like 208 penalty minutes.
That's
incredible.
Let me see if I can go back.
That is absolutely. Can you imagine? That's like
That's incredible.
how many games is that?
That's like
60 minutes in a game.
That's almost 4 games.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's that's like a really old school Tri-City Spokane like playoff game.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like
So that was one of the reasons
those would get ugly.
I picked that song today called Codebreaker partially because of that, because it made me feel like we were back in old school hockey, and I miss it. I miss that old school hockey.
And you're talking old school, like the Broad Street Bullies.
I'm talking about where there was line brawls, like on at least a weekly basis somewhere.
I don't think I've ever seen one. Like
that night, everybody. Of course,
We weren't there and we didn't watch it.
real quick, Calgary and Edmonton's getting to that level again, too.
A little bit.
Zach Cassian kicked the shit out of Matt Tkachuk. Tkachuk knocked Cassian down a couple times in the corner. Finally, Cassian's like, fuck you. And he literally grabbed him, pulled him back, punched his face. Tkachuk tries to skate away. He grabbed him again, pulled him back.
Oh.
Cassian got a 2-game suspension for it. But a lot of people are on Cassian's side. Like, hey, we know that's the rule.
Yeah.
You're going to get a 2-game suspension. But Tkachuk was being a little bitch out there.
It's something that our local team, I don't feel, has had that kind of identity for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
And that's just the personalities that you're drafting, that you're deciding to put on your team. But you get into some of those games and the other team is just dog whipping you. I mean, they're baiting you into sticking up for yourself. And we haven't really had a lot of personality that's going to take that role and kind of regulate that. So, I mean, I would love to see us have a couple of guys that could, maintain order on the ice.
Yes.
If
For
you know what I'm
sure,
saying.
yeah.
We just haven't had that for a while, and it's not that I want to see fight. I don't go to hockey games to see fights all the time.
Right.
I'm not, and that's not
But
even
they have
part
a
of
place.
it. But
They have a place.
You also need that. You still need that guy that he's hitting your winger up, and you've got to have a guy that is going to put him on the wall so hard that he's going to think twice about, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Absolutely.
The last one we had that would drop gloves on a regular basis and that he knew his role was Dalton York.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was fun.
Yorkie was one of those that didn't matter how old you were, he was going to beat the shit out of you. And we had him as a 20-year-old.
Wait, it wasn't his last 2 games he was suspended?
Yeah, last 2 games against Seattle in the playoffs, he was suspended. But he was the last one that really threw down. After he left, though, the 2 seasons after that, we had Roman Kalinichenko, who wasn't a fighter, but motherfucker could lay you out. You put your eyes down for half a second against him. He wasn't that big, though. He was not that big.
Who am I thinking?
But he
that
ended
is
up signing
big?
with the KHL.
Played big.
So, I mean, he's
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But he was the one, every check of the night, it was 90% of them were Roman. So we had that. We don't.
Okay,
really.
who was the player that we had? He was an import, but he was a pretty big player. Not that they hit or anything, but
big player.
whom? I'm going to Google it. Let me find it.
I mean,
You talk.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a kid we had a few years ago. I want to say maybe 3.
Max James was another one.
No, I think
He was fun.
He was number 9, and he was a monster. He was like 6'60", and he did not put up with any bullshit. And he was like my favorite player because of that.
So I remember there was Lucas Nichols was number 9. He was not a fighter.
Nope.
Tom Cadu right now is our number 9. He was not a fighter.
No, yeah, this was probably 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah, he was a stud.
Riley Hillis, maybe? No, because he was the same time as Nichols. So anyway, I'll have to go and look that name up. Look at that, number 9, 4 years ago. I want to give you, here's from the scorer's sheet from the Kelowna.
Oh, gosh.
The Kelowna Kamloops game. Starting at the 15-18 minute mark of the third period, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 major fighting penalties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 game misconduct penalties. That right there is 100 minutes of penalties
That's
with those game
insane.
misconducts.
That's crazy.
This started at the 15-18 minute mark of the third period. So the last 4. And you got to realize at that point, I believe the score at that point's like 6-2. Kamloops. So all the Kelowna, and this was in Kelowna, all the Kelowna fans had gone home. I was talking with somebody on Instagram the other night that were saying it was a terrible game. And I was like, well, why was it terrible? They're like, well, the only fun part of it as the home team fan was the end, and everybody had left at that point. The goalies fought. I mean, that's where it got
That's
to.
amazing.
The goalies fought. But you heard what I just said. 18 major fighting penalties.
That's insane.
In 4 minutes.
So what was the problem? Like, what was the beef? Do you know? Did you find out anything? Like, what happened to make that big of? Is it because they were just getting beat?
I think it was a matter of they were just getting speed bagged at home, and I'm looking here. There was a checking to the head penalty at 9:43 from Kelowna. Before that, there was a holding penalty.
But what causes that big of a fight? Like, that's insane to me.
I don't know.
Like, I get...
Okay, so whoever was there, I forget what the name of the girl was I was talking with on Instagram, but if anybody was there, let us know what happened, because I haven't seen anything as to what sparked it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll tell you, a lot of times, some of the blame, maybe most of the blame in this case, can be put on the officiating crew because they obviously let it go way too long.
Yeah.
A lot of the chippy stuff, they got to step in way earlier if they're going to control something like that.
That makes
because
sense.
if it gets that bad at the end, like legit, someone could get hurt. You know what I
For
mean?
sure,
Like now we're
yeah.
talking about someone could really get injured if you're having line brawls and goalies fighting and there's 200 plus minutes of penalties. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. So, somewhere in the second period when it was getting a little out of hand, the officiating crew at intermission should go over to the coaches and say, look, man, we could see what's happening here. You need to settle these boys down. Let's play some hockey.
Because honestly, what was the final score? 6-2?
7-2.
Yeah. See, that's
Cam
not
Lopes.
terrible. Like, I've seen a lot
That's
worse.
That's a typical
That's a
WHL
typical ass
score.
whooping.
Yeah. But it's a tip. It's not out of the ordinary in the
Right.
WHL.
No, it's not. And that's why I'm like, it just didn't. But are they rivals? Are they like really heated rivals?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They're and once again, Cam Loops. They've played each other 8 times this year, and Cam Loops has won 7.
Ooh.
So there's no and for Kelowna, a team that's hosting the Memorial Cup this year.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So that's the other thing. There's a lot of pride on the line for them right now. And Derek, to your point, my question is, did it boil over quickly though in the third?
Right.
Was it something that the refs couldn't even they didn't see it coming? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, possibly, but usually in my limited experience,
Right.
I'm talking sports in general.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen this in baseball.
Absolutely.
I've seen this in football. I've seen this in basketball. It's usually slowly building and then it boils over. It usually doesn't go 0 to 60 at the end of the game.
Right.
Sometimes, but
Unless you're a female, and then you can do that.
and then you can do that.
I'm just looking here. There's a buddy of mine that does a lot of WHL stuff.
I think that's absolutely
Sorry,
crazy.
I'm making mouth noises here. He didn't.
But how
Lemon
cool would it
rolls,
have been to
Dylan
been
Grange.
there? And then the loser fans who go home, like, because it's a bad game, I'm going to go home. And then you miss the coolest fight of the year.
Yeah, I would just be
Embarrassed that I left.
There is video of the goalie fight out there if anybody wants to find. I'm just trying to find. I should have done this ahead of time. I didn't
Yeah,
even
you
think
should
about
have.
it. Thanks, babe. I appreciate the support.
Well, I can fill in a little. So there's a and it's an NFL story, but it's relevant to leaving early. There was a superstitious guy who was in the stadium for the last 3 playoff exits for the Kansas City Chiefs. In the first quarter, they were down 14-0 immediately, and he said, "If they go down 3 touchdowns, I'm going to leave because I'm bad luck." And they went down 21-0.
Yeah.
He left the stadium. He was mentioned by
51-31 was the final
Yes,
or whatever.
yeah, it was 51-30. It was an insane score, but just superstitions, right? Like,
yeah,
hey,
for sure.
we know, especially in hockey. I find hockey players to have some incredible superstitions that they're
Yes.
like,
I think
aside from not changing your socks, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. And
some
I thought
weird
it was
stuff.
silly for the longest time. And then as I'm getting more involved reading it, I'm like, ooh, I can't mess with tradition.
the way they wrap their
because
stick, the way they tie
yeah.
their laces, like they're weirdos, man. Y'all's are weirdos sometimes.
Some of the things I'm reading too from that fight or that whole line brawl was like these fights were going on forever. Refs weren't stepping in and stopping
Really?
anything.
There you go.
Yeah, and you never know what you're going to get. That's my.
I wonder what
biggest-
refs they were.
I don't know. If you go,
Do they
actually,
travel
I've got,
around?
Hold
Do
on.
they travel
I can-
around? Like, so
Sorry,
like
guys,
we
I'm going to call you out. Here's the refs.
Wait. So we see Fleming at our local hockey
You won't
rink.
see Fleming.
Does he go
He's a
to like
linesman, though.
Seattle?
No. Yeah, I
or-
don't think so.
It sounds to me like it was the Pac-12 college football referees
I heard about that.
who got blasted last night. They were the officiating crew for the national title game last night.
I
and
heard
got
they
blasted.
got, yeah.
Okay, who was it?
So Ward Pateman is one of them, and I've heard that name before. Braden Arkand, I don't think I've ever heard that name as a ref. And then the linesmen were Minty Wanner.
Wow.
I know I haven't heard those before.
Well, hello.
Yeah, hello there.
They can have a bad day too, but
Sure.
a lot of times, again, these are kids and.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. This is not. I guess it is kind of calling the refs out, but the point is like, for me, it's like the inconsistency. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you get Iverson, who calls everything and allows nothing.
Right.
I mean, and that's usually what you're going to get from him.
But
then,
going in what you're going to get.
Yeah, most of the time. And then sometimes, like, first, second period, he won't call anything, and then third period, he's all over it. It's like, where the fuck do you come from?
Sure.
But anyway, that's my biggest gripe with officiating in any sport at any time is just be consistent.
Yep.
That's all I'm asking for.
Yep.
Holding happens every play in football.
Yep.
Okay? Be consistent with how you're calling it.
Exactly. Strike zone.
Did that penalty, strike zone's another one. Did that penalty in the hockey game affect the play? No. If it didn't, let it go. Just let it go.
Right.
But anyway, that's a consistency thing.
Honestly, I don't know if I would have liked to have gone to that game. That was probably a 4.5 hour, marathon.
What they actually say.
And we don't have
It was almost 3 hours long.
And we don't have any beer after the third period. This is a bad day.
No. But of course, Kelowna is in a beautiful location where all you got to do is walk outside and get your beer after the game. And by the way, it was 6-2 when that all happened,
went
and then
down.
Kamloops got a power play
So
goal.
it's a long game anyways. I mean, you're talking 8 goals. There's stoppage every time.
Oh, yeah.
Every penalty, there's stoppage. I would have been bored out of my mind, honestly. I would have... That wouldn't have been fun for me personally.
Well, I think the good thing about that is, though, by that point, the game's almost over. So you hung through the craziness up to that point. Because I bet you that last 5 minutes of game time took half an hour.
Right.
Easily.
At least. Just sorting through who did what and who was penalized for what.
Cole Schwebus. I love that name. Schwebus.
Any suspensions come out of that or any...
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
208 penalty minutes and nobody got
But
suspended.
I mean, they were fightings and misconducts. I mean, those are you're not going to get penalties for that or suspensions for that.
Right.
Let me go. I can.
I
tell
was
you.
actually looking at some of the videos while you were kind of not talking, and and like some of the hits was like, I don't know, it looked malicious.
Don't worry, I pissed everybody off with a football story.
Yeah,
so.
it's okay. There were. I don't know. Okay, there was one suspension.
Oh, wow.
Caden Korzik of Kelowna was suspended 3 games just as for actions against Kamloops.
Please tell me
actions against.
Please tell me he took his skate off and tried to stab somebody with it.
Right. Here's the other interesting part, though. I've never seen one this high before. Kelowna was fined $3,000.
Yeah.
For that, and then Kamloops was fined $1,500. I've seen $500 fines before. I've never seen a $3,000 one.
So that's another area where if the refs aren't handling it, then the coach needs to step in and say, "Hey, dudes, just fucking knock it up. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
it's 6-2. Let's just tuck our tail and get the hell out of here.
Right.
We'll live to fight another day. This is not going to be worth anything." So that's where you see the fine on the franchise.
And it was the home team that was getting speed bagged that had the $3,000 fine. So that tells me they were holding
good.
More
okay,
of the
so
bag.
At least the league is like, look, knock this crap off. It's kind of a black eye, really. If you think, I mean, it's not a good press, honestly.
Right.
So that's good. That's gonna regulate that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if the officiating crews get graded and if they get fined or anything like that. But
supposedly they do.
That would be a conversation for them too, probably with the league. Like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
At least let's learn from it. How did this escalate? And let's not have this happen.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's just one of those stories you don't get a whole lot anymore. Something that big. And the next night was interesting though too, because Saturday night Regina comes to town here. Regina spells fun. Regina comes to town. The Ams get the win 5-4. It was a good game. It was 5-1 at one point, and then Regina. Third period, they scored 4 goals in the third period.
Oh, wow.
And isn't Regina, like, below the Americans?
They are. Points-wise, they're below the Americans.
That's crazy.
But anyway,
and they came back.
So the Ams get their second win in 4 games.
We're on a roll,
We're on
baby.
a roll now. I mean, come on.
With a whole new team.
With a whole new team, which was fun to watch. That's cool to see some of these kids. Final grade on trade deadline for the Tri-City Americans for me is a A-.
It's got to be an A. Yeah, I mean, I love it.
With what we got back, with the players that we put in there, all that stuff. But anyway, so the next night, Regina travels to Everett. And Everett's been hurting lately. And Everett's been my pick.
They were continuing to hurt.
Everett's been my pick to win. I went back and looked. They lost Sunday to Regina, 6-3 at home. Everett's lost 6 of their last 8. What the fuck is going on in Silvertip? They just made a bunch of huge trades.
Right.
And granted, now these players are just together for a few days now, but they went out and sold off a lot of people. One of their players came back from World Juniors.
And they sold him. I mean, okay.
And they traded him. The day he came back, they
traded
him to, I forget, Red Deer, maybe. And then he got traded again to Saskatoon at the end of the... He was traded. He was played for 3 teams in one day.
Holy crow.
Martin Fasco-Rudis. He's a good player for them, but he got traded. So they brought in some Dallas Stars prospect from somewhere. I mean, they made some big trades. They are not winning right now. Portland has quietly said bye-bye to the rest of the U.S. division.
Yep.
Man, we should be paying better attention to Portland.
Well,
then.
and the thing is, Portland didn't make any big trades because they didn't have to make any big trades.
But see, they're playing together as a team.
They are.
And that's what I think.
Seattle didn't make any big trades this year. Remember the last 2 seasons, they were in seller mode.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not their cycle. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all
they're
on a
building.
cycle. Yeah.
But now they're winning.
But they're winning now.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
and
Starting to win.
That's why we got to hope that these were the right moves on this fire sale.
I believe they were.
In 2 years from now, we're going to have a hell of a time during the playoffs and make a run.
Yep.
Who do you think is going to make the playoffs?
This year?
For our
us.
5 teams, the 5 U.S. teams.
I think Everett will pull it around.
Here's the thing. Seattle or Tri-City is only 4 points out of a playoff spot right
And
now.
they're behind Seattle, right?
Behind Seattle. Prince George is behind us for 10th in the West. I still think at the end of the day, it's Tri-City and Prince George do not make the playoffs this year. Oh, but that's not a bad thing.
Because of the lottery.
Because we want a high lottery spot. Let me tell you why. There are 3 15-year-olds right now that are Bantam players that will be drafted 1, 2, 3 in the WHL this next year. All 3 of them have applied for exceptional status. All 3 of them. And it's very likely the WHL has never granted exceptional status. It's very likely that one of them...
Wait, they have never?
The WHL has never done exceptional status.
Really?
OHL has, I believe, and the Q has.
So have you looked at any of those players? Are they really good?
The 3
Yeah.
that I've taken a look. One of them's got like 190 points in 48 games.
Oh, my goodness.
In their Bantam team. I mean, they're just...
How is their league, though?
It doesn't really matter.
No, you don't
the
think
fact
so?
that you're scoring 3 to 4 points a game on a regular...
That's insane.
So anyway, we want one of those kids.
Yeah.
You want to know... Here's a fun fact that I learned this past weekend.
It's a fun fact.
You want to know the last time the Americans had a number 1 overall pick? You want to know who we drafted?
It was not Price.
I'll give you the year. 2003 was the last time the Americans had a number
That's
1
a long
overall
time.
pick. You want to know who they drafted? You're not going to guess because he never came to play.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was gonna
Oh!
Jonathan Taves.
Oh, good. Yeah, good for him. Did.
You don't want to know why? No. It was actually a great idea. You know what? The reason he didn't come to play here was because that's when the owner was saying, I'm going to sell and we're going to move to Chilliwack. Jonathan Taves' parents said, we want stability for our kid.
Sure.
We believe he's got a future in hockey. We
Which
don't
he
want
does.
it. We don't, yeah, which obviously that panned out.
Which obviously that worked out.
Okay, but that
But
name is
they
fun.
just said they don't want it clouded
Sure.
from controversy, so he's going to go play in college. That worked out for him. But that was the last time the Americans had a number 1 overall pick.
The name is fun, Chilliwack.
Chilliwack. Which they have a team. They have a BCHL team, the Chilliwack Chiefs. They're pretty good.
Chilliwack.
So, but this is an epic year. And now a lot of hockey fans don't, they pay attention to the NHL draft. A lot of people know about that. But this WHL draft is going to be pretty legit.
Yeah.
If the AMs can get a hold of any one of those 3,
Would be fantastic.
be fan-fucking-tastic.
Or
But to do that, you got to miss the playoffs.
Well, sure.
Because you want that lottery.
Right.
I mean, and nothing's granted if you miss the playoff. Nothing's given if you miss the playoffs. But
so how does the lottery work? Like the bottom 2 do they automatically get the first choice? Or
do
is
not
it,
quote me on this, which you can because it'll be printed digitally. But I believe that where you fall, there's 6 teams in the WHL that don't make the playoffs, and where you fall in those 6, you get X amount of
Right.
the worst team gets like 6 balls.
You get more tickets in the drawing.
they get 6
Exactly.
balls. That's a lot of
That's
balls.
a lot of balls. But it's just those 6 teams that go in.
Do you know
to
what
the
color
lottery.
balls they are?
Give your balls a tug.
Probably red and blue.
Blue and
Yeah.
red, and maybe even a little white.
Maybe some purple. I don't know.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you better go see a doctor.
For real. Been there, done that. But yeah, so that you want that.
Sure.
You want, and it's not that you sell the seat. It's not that you give up, because that's the one thing I did see from the team Friday and Saturday was a lot of heart. They were playing very hard.
Sure.
8-5 was the final against Seattle. They were down 8-2 at one point in the third period, and they stormed.
Well,
back.
it's good to see. Yeah, you like to see that.
Yep.
That they're not giving up.
This is okay. real quick for fans, what this is for the rest of the season is dress rehearsal for next year.
Sure.
That's what this is right now.
Well, and some of these kids they're putting stuff on tape too.
Yep.
You know, they might not be around come next year anyways. So they're all fighting hard. I mean, if they want to make it, they're not going to go out there and lay down.
That's right. It's been fun hockey to watch. So we were talking Everett, who's been struggling. They had Dawson Butt.
Why are you laughing?
Said butt.
Because his name.
Why do you think butt?
And he's the one that I have Remmer chirping at, saying, "You fat fuck, go get yourself a hot dog."
That's awesome.
That's who he was chirping
That's
at.
fantastic.
But he, in that Regina game, got a TBD suspension, which that's
to
bad.
be determined.
Right, but that's bad. When the WHL says we'll figure it out later,
Right.
that means sit your ass down, you ain't playing for a while.
Yikes.
And then the team also
Yikes.
got a $500 fine for actions in the last 5 minutes.
Oh.
Probably a multiple fight situation.
That's fun.
Usually when that happens.
Yeah,
Also, I love their jerseys.
Which ones?
Regina's.
The Pats?
Yes, I love them. I don't know why. Honestly, it makes me think of the Flyers jerseys that you like, but it's not orange.
The black ones.
Yes.
Yeah, those are fun.
I really do like it. Honestly, I want a jersey from Regina Pats.
Okay.
So
Regina it is.
Okay, Derry. Okay.
So Regina's
I
been
just
a
love
team-
Regina.
The Regina
I love
Pats
saying
have
Regina.
been around for 50 plus years right now. And if I remember right, their 50th season was 1 or 2 seasons
Yes,
ago.
I remember that.
And the jerseys they had for their 50th
Were
pretty
rad.
cool. So
I'm sure you can get those.
if you like that, look up the Windsor Spitfires. They have one I think you'd really like too.
Oh, I will do that.
So anyway, guys, we're about at time here. I feel like we actually talked a little bit of Northwest hockey today.
Yes.
A little bit.
Portland
I had fun.
is ranked number 4 in the whole CHL.
No
of all
shit.
the 60 teams right now,
Portland.
is number 4.
Of all the teams,
4.
I'm going to root for them. Man, if one of them can go to the Memorial Cup, one of the 5, Portland, Everett, Seattle, Spokane, if one of those 5 can go on to the Memorial Cup, how rad would that be?
Cologne will be playing.
I would
next year.
totally go. I would spend my money, go to the Cup or whatever, and watch it.
Portland is my most hated team
Why?
what you
Don't you
mean.
like...
in the league. Now, it just, my...
From a rivalry perspective.
Right.
Get
And
it.
it was,
Really?
my
Yeah, I
high
don't even hate Spokane the way I don't like Portland.
Right.
Why?
For me, it's in my high school years where I was going to a lot of hockey. Portland went on a 5-year run where they were world beaters. Like nobody could touch them. They went to a couple of Memorial Cups during that
They
time,
won
didn't they?
one or
They won
two.
at least one, I know for sure. They were just unbeatable. They were just world beaters.
But
and
then-
so I hated them.
But then you found out that they were cheating.
Well,
No, and that's the
Yeah.
thing that really made me not
That's
like
right.
them. Was, I mean, they didn't have a first round pick for 5 seasons or whatever it
I
was.
totally
and they had
forgot
several down
that.
years after
Several
that.
down
Yeah.
years, and it was one of those things where, but it felt like a slap on the wrist, really.
Yeah.
and they've got a billionaire owner.
Yeah.
so I mean, there was a lot of money changing hands behind the scenes, in my opinion. But that was what I didn't like about them. When I learned that their cheating ways, I was like, well, fuck that. It's fucking junior hockey, man. Come on, dude. That's why I didn't like. So I know there's Portland people.
So I
that-
didn't know that they were like winning for years.
I know that there's
They went on a
Portland-
run, yeah.
There's Portland people that listen. There's Portland people that are fans of our show. We're not calling you fans, you people.
You people.
We're not calling the fans out at all. It really is. We're chirping the organization, and I love when Portland.
Are they
comes
better
to
now,
town.
though? Do you know? Or
Better what?
like,
well, they have
an organization.
They have to be.
Yeah, I think
because they're under more
still
scrutiny.
under scrutiny,
Yeah.
but
Oh, okay.
yeah, things have been fine. That for me, it was just that time
It's a
period
great
of my
rivalry.
life where, I was going to 10, 12, 15 games a year. With,
Yeah.
You know what?
High school kid and-
If I was going to allow myself to be an Americans fan, I would not like Spokane. But I think maybe because they're so close to
Well,
us.
they're
That's
our
a great
number one
rivalry.
rival. Yeah,
but there's
I mean-
so much good sportsmanship in that rivalry between
Right.
fans, between players. I remember last year, the final game of the season. It was the AMs when they do the award ceremony after the game, and Ty Smith and
Yeah.
Jared Anderson Dolan stood in the tunnel and watched the whole award ceremony. And then the next night, the Americans played in Spokane. Spokane won like 8-1. Parker, a coin, stayed out on the bench to watch their whole award ceremony.
Right.
There's just a really
Parker's
good.
such a good guy.
Bo McHugh over the summer when we
Yeah,
had Bo
Bo
on, he
too.
talked about him and
Oh.
Riley Whittingham constantly going at it on the ice. Now they're best friends.
We
playing
had
at Prince Albert.
one of those tournaments where one of Jackson's tournaments that we were up there in Spokane. It just happened that the Americans were in town, so
Oh, cool.
the whole team went to the game.
Nice.
We sat up. They had us in a little section and stuff, and the AMs were awesome. Like
Yeah.
every time they had a chance, they would look up and like wave to the kids and stuff because
Nice.
they all wear their jerseys and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the Americans actually won that night. and the AMs did a skate by, and they skated by the kids and tapped on the glass in front of them.
How awesome.
And the Spokane guys came
Did the
by.
same thing?
They didn't spend as much time, but they skated by and they raised their sticks up to our kids and stuff, and that was really cool.
That's cool.
The amount of the sportsmanship that happens. That's why when we have players on, I love to talk about that. Last year, and when the Americans played Everett that one night, and they did the surprise where the military father came home.
Oh yeah.
And as soon as it happened, both teams stood. I mean, Everett was up, stick tapping.
Yeah.
I love that. I love when the seventh player, which is always a kid, comes out before the game. You always see the starting lineup for the opposing team stick tap the ice. I love that sportsmanship because it really is like Parker has said, Bo has said, that 60 minutes, they're your enemy. As soon as it's over, you're brothers.
Well, and they're literally not that far removed from being the 8-year-old mite player. You know, honestly.
Absolutely.
So they remember
Absolutely.
being there.
Yep.
They're not, 30 years old and can't think back when they were 8. Like, some of them are still like 8.
I love this sport.
Yeah.
They look like it on the ice. I see them. I mean, when they're in their gear, they look like professional athletes, but like you see them around town, or
They look like babies.
They literally look like they're like 9 years old.
Yes.
We went into Gray's a couple weeks ago. We were doing some work, and we went into Gray's in Kennewick, and there was 4 players in there having lunch. And it's like if you didn't know any better, it'd just be 4 high school kids just hanging out.
Yeah.
But I love this game. I love, in every organization that I've seen, even Portland, they exude professionalism because that's what they're grooming these kids for. So, anyway, we are way over time.
As always.
Cascadia Hockey Facebook group, go check it out. If you're a part of the email list, there will also be a link in there going out for you to join. Other things coming. That's just the one for this week, but some other things coming. So if you enjoy what we do, continue to send us some reviews. Give us a like, a share, $1. I don't know. Whatever you want to give us.
At the very
take
least,
freebies. We'll do
just
unboxing.
give us a little star on that iTunes thing. As we get more stars, we can have more people find us.
Rate and review. Smash that like.
Yeah.
Thanks, EvanTube. So anyway, this has been fun. Hopefully next week we'll have the whole crew together.
Miss you, Rage Cage?
Yes, we do. Got some guests coming up in the near future that I'm excited about. We'll tell you more as that gets closer. But anyway, lots of hockey going on this weekend. If you're out and about, there's lots of WHL games going on. NHL is going to be taking a break here soon for the All-Star game. But that's heating up as well.
Are we going to get a franchise name reveal? They've been awful hush-hush.
From what I've heard, it's going to be February. I know. Because somebody said, you said All-Star game to the team, and they were like, we said that would be nice to say it, but we never said we. It's kind of.
You know what? I don't believe that they do not know.
It was
what
Aladdin.
The name is.
It was Aladdin tricking the genie out of a wish. Is what happened. So
they're just it's master marketing is what it is. I mean, everyone's talking about it. So
it's buzz marketing to a new level.
They're doing a fantastic job about keeping people interested.
Yes.
And talking
or
about
angry.
The team. That's fine. If you're angry, you're still talking about it.
It's fucking embarrassing.
This is one of those situations where no press is bad press, or bad press is good press, or whatever the hell you want to say about it. But
at this point, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, whatever.
IDGAF.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I'm excited, but at the same time, when it happens, it happens. So, anyway.
Peace out.
I think that'll be it for the day. Any parting words?
Join us on Cascadia Hockey.
Join us or die.
No, you won't die, I promise.
Okay. D-Man?
Nah. Goodbye, everybody.
Check out Garagerama, our other little project we do. And keep an eye out Cascadia Hockey. We're going to take over the world. So, on that note, a 1, a 2, a 3.
Ferda. No.
You want more, I can show you the gore, gusts, and raw footage. From what I understood, it's what I'm good at. A stone's throw to where the bones go. All the bullet points out.
Cascadia Hockey Podcast is recorded at Adventures Underground, 1391 George Washington Way, Richland, Washington, on the north end of the Uptown Shopping Center. Check out advunderground.com for more information.
Public, too often to soften the fact that I was up shit's creek to uplift the people I eat alive, the grinding my teeth, and I've spoken for the disenfranchised and disadvantaged. My heart is mismanaged by man. The manner in which I was damaged, handed and bandaged, and granted I was basically branded. I hastily panicked, abandoned and banished. resist every nightmare or emotion. Every time I think I might care, I need a new potion. New pill bottle to open. More serotonin to soak in. Like an ocean of dopamine, my coping mechanism's broken. Eloping, married to melodrama. Just ask karma, I ain't trying to be a martyr.